What's up, guys? Vince the Anomaly here with Shane.
I know this. Frazier, Fetchin, Phazin.
That's it.
Yeah,
Shane Phazin. That's who I'm with today. Today we're going to be working the switch jab as a setup and 4 different concepts of strikes you can build off of that switch jab. It's a great one, fun one to work. Let's check it out. Before we get into our 4 concepts, we're just going to cover what the shuffle jab, what the switch jab is itself, right? So basically it's going to look something like this. If I'm here with Shane, our regular jab, we're just pumping out a jab. We're taking our probing step, whatever it is. Shuffle jab, I'm going to go ahead and bring my left foot back as I throw my jab forward. Almost as if we're throwing a switch kick here where my leg comes back. I'm going to be shuffling forward, making a little diamond step here, and my jab is pumping out at the same time. Notice I'm getting my head off of the center line. And this is going to create a whole new angle here to attack against Shane. Notice how he just threw that jab. I'm going to have a lot of different options to go up and down. I know you guys probably have all of your favorites from there too, but let's talk about 4 concepts of how to build your own strikes off of this movement. The first concept is the Zig-Zag Attack. So this is one coined by Mr. Shane
Something like that. I forget. He
put
me on the spot now.
Shane called this one the zigzag, and I love it because what you really are doing is taking an angle to the outside and cutting across the body. So it looks something like this. I throw this switch jab, and now I'm going to be cutting across Shane's center line. So I can come over with a nice power cross here. I can come over with an overhand. I can slice down, cut on that leg. But it's important that we're taking this step outside and then cutting back across the body. So you can kind of think of the different types of strikes that open up from that position. So again, maybe Shane throws a jab at the same time. I throw my switch jab. I've got off that center line. And now I'm loaded up on this right leg so I can really take some power, shift my weight forward, shift my weight back onto the left leg, come over the top. I can go to the body here. If it's MMA, I can look to just shoot underneath, right? So let's do the shot one time. Boom. I can go for that single, or I can cut my head across and shoot across Shane's body here. So a lot of different options open up there as you tend to zigzag off of this motion. So think of some of those attacks yourself, and we'll move on to the next concept. Now we're going to move into attacking with the same side. So if I am orthodox here and my switch jab is on the left, I'm going to attack with another strike coming from the left-hand side. So one thing I like to do, very simple, I'm going to switch jab and attack the leg. Bam, bam. So notice how this kick is already coming off of the jab immediately. So it almost is like I'm throwing that switch kick, but at the same time, I'm kind of disguising what's coming next by putting my glove right in front of Shane's eyes. I can also be attacking this body shot here, obviously the head kick too. I can go to the body, I can go to the head. See, it works. It really does. But again, I like planting this hand there and kind of covering up Shane's face. Plus, I'm already switching here, so I can get that power, right? I'm opening up my hip on that side, and the leg's coming kind of at an awkward timing. It's not something where Shane's reading all of my movements. He's getting blocked off with the hands, and the kick is coming a little bit faster because it is coming with the same side.
Yeah. I also like reloading and swinging that arm too. So when you shuffle on the jab, you blind them with it. And if you do need a little bit of extra momentum, then I will wind up for the arm swing for the kick. But again, post it back out so that I'm framing the whole time. So I switch on the jab, I wind up, and if Vince does throw any counter from here, I'm still going to use this arm as my long guard, protecting my chin and the shoulder, elbow from the punch, that kind of thing.
Cool, love it. So we've attacked the same side, we've attacked the zigzag. Now let's go ahead and attack in the motion we're moving, attacking to the right-hand side. Since we've done the work to get our head off of the center line, cutting to the outside of our opponent, we can go ahead and keep building strikes in that direction. So keep working that side we're going to. So again, if I'm throwing the switch jab from orthodox here, I'm working to Shane's outside here. We can think of a bunch of different attacks, but instead of zigzagging across, I can continue my motion sweeping to the outside. So notice this one here, a pendulum step to get to the calf. I'm continuing my motion outside, and I'm attacking. Now, if I want to, I can really pressure in here in a switch stance. I can come all the way back, but again, I have this angle, so Shane's going to be forced to move back into me and reset. So you can think of a bunch of different attacks to come over the top, but keep stepping over here instead of zigzagging. I can go to the body, and again, I really like to just dig into that calf kick from there.
That's a great setup for the calf kick, yeah. Because a lot of times with that calf kick, we'll aim for the calf, but we'll hit the bone or we'll hit the knee. But to make sure that you got the proper angle that you're going to hit the meat of the calf is that perfect setup right there.
Yeah, and it's a great, as I said before, it's a great setup for catching the opponent turning back into you. So whatever motion, whether it's a shot or you're coming with that overhand, you're coming with another kick, once you continue to one side, the opponent's going to have to force his way back into you at one point or another. Then that can be the setup for your next attack.
There it is.
Now for our final concept, we can think of attacks we can do from our actual switch stance. So this time, instead of going back into an orthodox position, we're going to keep it switched up. So I'm right here with Shane. I throw that switch jab, but instead of switching back, I'm going to stay southpaw here. So obviously, a pretty simple one. A lot of guys like to do this one, right? Is come back over with the hook. So I've loaded up this right leg. I can throw my weight back and get some real power in there. Obviously, we can dig right there to the body as well. I can start pressuring in, coming with knees. But the main thing is, the main principle for this concept is I'm just going to go ahead and switch my stance. Now this does a great job of, keeping you moving and keeping your opponent guessing throughout the fight too. Because even if I'm not in range and I don't hit Shane with the switch jab, I can just use it to switch. So I'm constantly pumping something out there and I'm keeping my patterns, my foot movement hidden instead of just going here and then turning into a southpaw stance like that. I can use this switch jab to keep my movement more flowy, more effortless to get into that southpaw, or vice versa, the orthodox if you're normally a southpaw, and switch back and forth pretty seamlessly.
I love it. One of my favorites.
So the biggest takeaway from this whole video, guys, isn't necessarily all the different strikes we're teaching you to throw from here. It's really being able to kind of think of, okay, now I'm in this position, and what strikes do I know that I can implement here? Right, so just like on this switch jab, right? When I throw that, I'm kind of loaded up on this right leg. And that's a lot different from if I just threw a jab and stepped off to the side. All right, my weight's a little bit more back. I'm still in this orthodox stance. It's entirely different when I've got this switch position. And now I can start throwing my attacks from there. So I want you guys to really think of, okay, this is my position in relation to Shane, in relation to where my own weight is, my own weight distribution, and how can I plug in all the different strikes from my database into this new position that I've just created for myself.
Yeah, the way that I like looking at it is kind of working backwards. Instead of taking the switch step and ending up in a position, it's like, if I want to get to a certain position, how can I use the switch step to get there, right? So Vince talked about getting to the outside, and a concept that we all know is when fighting an open stance against a southpaw, whoever can win the fight of that lead foot and lead hand and get on the outside usually has the better position. So that switch jab, my goal is to get to the outside. I'm going to use the switch jab to get to the outside. So the switch jab, look, my foot's on the outside. Now I got the hand on the outside. I just start working over top. I can throw the left straight down the middle. So again, try to work backwards of what's the position I want to get in, or what's the goal I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to hit that switch kick to the head. How can I use the switch jab? I'm going to use that to blind them, load up the kick, fire off to the head. So again, try to work backwards of what's the goal, and then how can I plug in the switch jab with a shuffle jab into making that happen.
So there it is, guys. 4 different concepts of building strikes onto a switch jab. And it doesn't always have to be a switch jab. You can use any type of setup to create an angle. Think of just the different concepts of what direction you're moving in and how you can implement your own strikes to that game, to that movement.
Yeah, I love that Vince is a coach here on the channel and that we got him on Fighttips.com, because I learned so much about the ways that he teaches. It's very conceptual, right? It's not just like technique and pivot on your foot when doing it. It's how can we create this angle, get to this side, and once we're there, what are the optimal options of throwing? If you like this style as much as I do, then you got to check out his MMA IQ roadmap on Fighttips.com. It's exclusive for members on there, so there's a link down below that'll get you a free 2-week trial. Check it out. And it's not just stand-up stuff. There's a lot of grappling and wrestling drills on there, partner flow drills and solo drills. It's incredible. I always explain it as like a college course, MMA 101, but it's more than 101. It's even more advanced than that. There's wall work. There's getting up off the cage. There's tons of stuff. So check it out. Links in the description below. And we'd love to see you on the community on there. But until next time, I'm Shane.
Fancy Anomaly.
Fight Tips for the underdogs.